In the conversations that you guys have in wanting to make reforms in your profession and make things better for what you do and for the Nigerian people who you are centered on, I think when you all meet and gather, this should be something you should talk about. That you all that are professionals and know the nitty gritty about the profession and how news should be dispensed and reported in Nigeria should be involved in the process. And yes, where I live, whatever regulations that are going to be made or codes that are going to be written, they have professionals from that industry be a part of the process. So you all need to push for that. It's not enough to say that the politicians who really don't know nothing about how or what journalism is, you went to school for it, you're trained for it, they cannot make that decisions on how you should carry out your job. I know Nigeria is a peculiar situation, but in your conversations, when you all meet, I think you should push for you guys to be involved in the process of these regulations that are being formed. Thank you.
I appreciate that, but are you talking about the same country that has a minister for education that knows nothing about education? Come
I'm
on.
just, I'm just
Come
saying.
on. Let's be realistic now.
Yeah.
It will not take a journalist to change the situation. We're all in this mess together, if I have to say that. Now, let me explain something to you. Yeah, I'll give you a scenario. About 2 weeks ago, just after the APC was captured by Turji Bello and his crew, someone called our television station and I called anonymously, and he was speaking with fear. You could hear the fear in his voice. He called but didn't want us to put him on air. I can say this now because I'm not on air, but he called and said that he wants to remain anonymous, and that he just wants to let it that he called us because he noticed the way we report things about issues, and he thought to inform us that what is going on with the military is beyond what we know. According to him, I wouldn't tell how true or not his statements are, except there is proper investigation. He did mention that the military personnel who went for that mission, that operation that had the APC captured by Turji Bello and his crew, were mostly Southeasterners. He said so. I am not him. And that's subject to investigation. He said that the military personnel who were involved in that operation were mostly Southeasterners. He said that there was a time they were even stranded and they were calling for help for days before that capture. And they did not get the assistance that they needed. So it was almost looking like it was a deliberate sabotage to put them in the hands of these people. So when we thought let's put you online, let's talk, he said no, that his line may even be monitored. He's living with fear. But I can't use that story, neither on radio or TV. You know why? Because I can't use it. Even if I had recorded him, I still can't use it. It's unfortunate because this is about national security. There's no way I could have used it. So, except I don't want to be alive per se. I mean, what did Pidom say that he was charged for treason? So there are things like this that you cannot do if you must remain alive in your profession. We saw that a couple of my crew and I noticed that. In fact, it was my staff that was at the back end that called my attention to it, my this, my that. But what do? We got his details and tried to see if we can keep the numbers, but we lost track of everything and we let it go. But that is what it is. We even tried to beg him, let's record you. We will mask your voice. We will tweak your voice so it doesn't look like you. He said, no, they will know I'm the one. Because after most of us that are in that operation that's surviving. You see how difficult it is? That's as bad as it is. So there are so many things that many journalists are privy to that they just cannot say. And so they are no news because we're not saying.